talk about the representation, include introduction, current situation, complex strategy, business analysis throughout various framework, trend analysis, recommendation, and conclusion. Let's start with the introduction. Adidas is a German multinational company that specializes on designing, manufacturing footwear, apparel, and accessories. And start with my friend. Okay.
Currently, Adidas focuses on differentiation strategy, that is, it provides high quality products in a low price range compared to its competitors, and Adidas should focus more on innovation and along with sustainability. Yeah, and this is how we have analyzed the integral picture of Adidas, and on the basis of this diagram we have listed down some strength and weakness of Adidas. And Adidas has a strong brand image. Its sports shoes and apparels are renowned all over the world. It has a good distribution network both online as well as offline, and it has a strong financial position that it can invest and expand in the market, and it has collaboration with different international organizations like International Labour Organization, which is very beneficial. Talking about its weakness, it has premium pricing range that depends due to its high innovation cost and different product method. Its pricing range are quite high and is affordable to only limited customers. And it also has limited product line, though it has diversified in other sectors like different pricing range and international market. It still has not opted for diversifying the product line, and it depends extremely on its external suppliers, and due to this it can lose control over the product how it is made.
Let's have a look at competitive picture. Prices come from competitors. Industry picture. Structural weakness. Adidas playing catch up as it is beating it in technology, innovation and style. It is still smaller than Nike and it has a small number of outlets. Space to apply brilliant marketing strategy compared to Nike. There are some laggings on positioning the brand attractively. Still stand back in terms of correlation with big names. Persist in capturing the great opportunity in Southeast Asian market, and Adidas is also not strong enough to capture the US market. Possible competitive threats. Competition's wide product range makes it more challenging and difficult for Adidas. It's in battle position with Nike and Puma for capturing the marketing share. Styling in the base market, Adidas is a European brand, but it still stands back to Nike in the European market. Increasing trends toward isolationism in the American economy makes a barrier for Adidas to compete and expand.
Well, let's move on to the strategy impact map. This is the thing that I already put in the report, but I would like to highlight the most important thing that I think I can create threat to their Adidas, which is urbanization and middle class explosion. As like we have more people, and it can create their urbanization can create lighter poverty and environmental pollution, because Adidas is product is perceived as a high value product, and it's big like quite higher price and other product. So maybe when people have lower income, they may not able to buy the product, and they should consider more on the environmental pollution. Trade war and economic slowdown also affect on the business performance, in which Adidas had to work so hard and create like a new pricing strategy to answer the need of the market.
So now we're coming to Adidas and sustainability. So Adidas is spending lots of effort and money for the sustainability. Like for example, they have innovations for like recyclable shoes, or also they make shoes out of ocean plastic. And also Adidas is focusing on dyeing processes, which should minimize water use and also water pollution. So now to the threats from the environment. So what could be a problem for Adidas is like water shortage, because Adidas is operating a lot with cotton and polyester. So then also soil degradation, which also could cause less cotton. And then for demographic threats, we have the aging generation, which means that labor force will decline. And then Adidas faces those problems. So Adidas set some goals in their annual report. They approach to address water efficiency. Then they committed to constantly increase sustainable products and also to reduce energy consumption, CO2 emissions, and go into cleaner energy, and also for energy harvesting opportunities.
Like continue with the current situation, since we mostly people regard that Adidas try to claim to be an eco-friendly organization. It's like golden strategy, and then some people may say that green is seen as a marketing gimmick, that the company try to fake marketing that they are going green, but maybe it's not true. So maybe the company should consider this into action by doing something that can show that you are really going to the green and try to be real 100 eco-friendly. So maybe because in this day, some people also choose to satisfy their personal need before caring about environment because they care more about social standard. So the recommendation, the company should recycle and reuse the water that has been used in the manufacturing, and Indian market become more interesting because due to their number of the population and also people who have more money to buy slave because they already succeed in China. Maybe India is another challenge for Adidas to expand the market. And also they have to activate the production hub in India to gain higher income with the customer and the branding in India.
Okay, moving on, here we have listed out all the possible trends that may affect Adidas in the near future. These include examples such as rising world population and the rising inflation. And we have divided and ranked these trends based on the level of predictability and their possible impact on the company. Out of all the predictable trends, the one that we chose for this presentation is the resource scarcity. To be more precise, the shortage of water and how it will impact Adidas in the future. The global demand is set to increase by 55% by the end of the year 2050, and the majority of it will be coming from industries and the manufacturing companies such as Adidas. The impact that this shortage will have on the company is that since the company produces a lot of its products using materials like cotton and polyester, and both of those use a huge amount of water in its processing. Also, an abundant use of water in a situation of scarcity will of course create a negative perception in the negative impact on the perception of the public. A few steps that Adidas can use to tackle the shortage of water is that it could find alternatives to cotton and polyester and use other source of raw materials such as iron cell, which is a fabric similar to cotton but uses less water in its processing. Similarly, it could also use its R&D department to search more ways of limiting water usage and finding ways to recycle all the used water in its processing. Speaking of unpredictable, the one that we have chosen for this presentation is what if in the future fitness is no longer attractive and everyone has a body acceptance mindset? In that case, fitness is no longer considered attractive, and even in extreme cases, obesity may be defined as attractive, and therefore it will affect the level of physical activities that most people will be engaging in, and the effect that will have on Adidas is that since physical engagement will decline in that trend, the sales will also take a hit for not only Adidas but also the entire sportswear industry. Athletic footwear and sports gear, which are the main specialty of Adidas, will take a hit, and they will be relegated to only the professional in the sporting industry. A few recommendations to tackle this unpredictable trend will be that the company should develop and diversify its product line to adjust for this trend and include more body positive clothing line in for its products. Also, the company will need to update its vision statement, which currently is focused on the athletic individuals, and be more inclusive of the body positive individuals. Finally, to conclude, this report is not definitive, and it does have its limitations in its analysis. However, a few ways to summarize this report is that Adidas operates in a highly competitive market with large number of competitions and other companies trying to take over its market share. But it will need to pay attention to its external and internal environment and adapt to them, and also take measures to be prepared for the changing, unpredictable and predictable trends, and maintain a growth mindset with sustainability in its vision for the future to succeed. With that, we'd like to conclude our presentation. Thank you.
Thank you very much. Okay, thank you. Could you go through and take your seats and get ready for the Q&A